All right, welcome to Flowers for Algernon, the Day 2 reading section. Let's start with a review of what we read last time. So, we met Charlie Gordon, who's 37. He had some trouble learning, but he really wants to learn. He was going to a night school for adults, and his teacher, Miss Kinnian, recommended him for this surgery and testing. Well, the surgery, we'll just go with that, that will hopefully make him more intelligent. To qualify for the surgery, he had to go through different testing, psychological testing, and I believe you experienced some of that this today when you did the bell ringer, which was the Rorschach inkblot bell ringer, and that was an example of some of the testing that he went through. Then he qualified for the surgery. They decided to choose him mostly because he was so motivated and easy to work with. So they did the surgery. Charlie was feeling a little discouraged at the end of the reading from day 1 because he didn't see a huge change, and he was a little impatient to see a change. And that's where we pick up. All right, Progress Report 8, March 23rd. I'm going back to work at the factory. They said it was better I should go back to work, but I can't tell anyone what the operation was for, and I have to come to the hospital for an hour every night after work. They're going to pay me money every month for learning to be smart. I'm glad I'm going back to work because I miss my job and all my friends and all the fun we have there. So Charlie works at a factory. He works at a plastic box factory, and he's worked there for years. He's the janitor. Dr. Strauss says I should keep writing things down, but I don't have to do it every day, just when I think of something or something special happens. He says don't get discouraged because it takes time and it happens slow. He says it took a long time with Algernon before he got 3 times smarter than he was before. That's why Algernon beats me all the time, because he had that operation too. That makes me feel better. I could probably do that amazed faster than a regular mouse. Maybe someday I'll beat him. That would be something. So far, Algernon looks smart, permanent. March 25th. Oops. Sorry about that. I don't have to write progress report on the top anymore, just when I hand it in once a week for Dr. Niemer. I just have to put the date on. That saves time. We had a lot of fun at the factory today. Joe Carp said, "Hey, look where Charlie had his operation. What did they do, Charlie? Put some brains in?" I was going to tell him, but I remembered Dr. Strauss said no. Then Frank Riley said, "What did you do, Charlie? Forget your key and open your door the hard way?" That made me laugh. They're really my friends and they like me. Sometimes somebody will say, "Hey, look at Joe or Frank or George. He really pulled a Charlie Gordon." I don't know why they say that, but they always laugh. This morning, Amos Borg, who is the foreman at Donegan's, it's like the manager, and Donegan's is the factory Charlie works at. So Amos Borg, who's the foreman at Donegan's, used my name when he shouted at Ernie, the office boy. Ernie lost a package. He said, "Ernie, for God's sake, what are you trying to be a Charlie Gordon?" I don't understand why he said that. I would never lose a package. Let's pause here for a second and think about why his friends use that phrase Charlie Gordon when someone messes up, what that says about Charlie and what that says about his friends and their relationship, all things that are very important to think about. March 28th. Dr. Strauss came to my room tonight to see why I didn't come in like I was supposed to. I told him I don't like to race Algernon anymore. He said I don't have to for a while, but I should come in. He had a present for me. I thought it was a little television, but it wasn't. He said I got to turn it on when I go to sleep. I said, "You're kidding. Why should I turn it on when I'm going to sleep? Whoever heard of a thing like that?" But he said, if I want to get smart, I got to do what he says. I told him I didn't think I was going to get smart. And he puts his hand on my shoulder and says, "Charlie, you don't know it yet, but you're getting smarter all the time." Do you guys think so? Have you noticed any changes yet? Something you can think about. "You won't notice for a while," Dr. Strauss said. "I think he's just being nice to make me feel good because I don't look any smarter. Oh yes, I almost forgot. I asked him when I can go back to the class at Miss Kinnian's school. He said I won't go there. He said that soon Miss Kinnian will come to the hospital and start and teach me special." Sorry, I lost my place. All right, March 29th. That should say March 29th. Please forgive my typo. March 29th, everyone. That crazy TV kept me up all night. How can I sleep when something yelling crazy things all night in my ears? And then nutty pictures. Wow. I don't know what it says when I'm up, so how am I going to know when I'm sleeping? Dr. Strauss says it's okay. He says my brains are learning now when I sleep, and that will help me when Miss Kenyon starts my lessons at the hospital. Only I found out it wasn't a hospital, it's a laboratory. I think it's all crazy. If you can get smart when you're sleeping, why do people go to school? That thing I don't think will work. I used to watch The Late Show and The Late Late Show on TV all the time, and it never made me smart. Maybe you have to sleep while you watch it. Pause here, think about what is the importance of the fact that Charlie's been receiving all this attention, the surgery, everything at a laboratory, not a hospital? What does that tell you about the kind of work that's being done on him and who's doing it, et cetera, and so forth? All right, Progress Report 9, April 3rd. Dr. Strauss showed me how to keep the TV turned low, so now I can sleep. I don't hear a thing, and I still don't understand what it says. A few times I play it over in the morning to find out what I learned when I was sleeping, and I don't think so. Miss Kinnean says maybe it's another language, but most times it sounds American. It talks faster than even Miss Gold, who was my teacher in 6th grade. I told Dr. Strauss, what good is it to get smart in my sleep? I want to be smart when I'm awake. He says it's the same thing, and I have two minds. There's the subconscious and the conscious. That's how you spell it. And one don't tell the other one what it's doing. They don't even talk to each other. That's why I dream. And boy, have I been having crazy dreams. Wow, ever since that night TV, the Late 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 Show. I forgot to ask him um, if it was only me or if everybody had those two minds. I looked up the word in the dictionary Dr. Strauss gave me. The word is subconscious, ADJ, of the nature of mental operations not present in consciousness as subconscious conflict of desires. There's more, but I still don't know what it means. This isn't a very good dictionary for dumb people like me. Anyway, the headache I have is from the party. My friends from the factory, Joe Carp and Frank Riley, invited me to go to Mugsy's Saloon for some drinks. I don't like to drink, but they said we will have lots of fun. I had a good time. Joe Carp said I should show the girls how I mop out the toilet in the factory, and he got me a mop. I showed them, and everyone laughed when I told that Dr. Donegan said I was the best janitor he ever had because I liked my job and do it good and never miss a day, except for my operation. I said, Miss Kenyon always said, Charlie, be proud of your job because you do it good. Everybody laughed, and we had a good time, and they gave me lots of drinks. And Joe said, Charlie is a card when he's potted. That means Charlie's funny when he's drunk. I don't know what that means, but everybody likes me and we have fun. I can't wait to be smart like my best friends, Joe Carp and Frank Riley. I don't remember how the party was over, but I think I went out to buy a newspaper and a coffee for Joe and Frank when they asked me to. But when I came back, there was no one there. I looked for them all over till late. Then I don't remember so good, but I think I got sleepy or sick. A nice cop brought me back home. That's what my landlady, Mrs. Flynn, says. But I got a headache and a big lump on my head. I think maybe I fell, but Joe Carp says it was the cop. They beat up drunks sometimes. I don't think so. Miss Kinnean says the cops are to help people. Anyway, I got a bad headache and I'm sick and hurt all over. I don't think I'll drink anymore. Something to think about here is Charlie's relationship with his friends from work. He loves hanging out with them and he feels like they have a really good time. And I want you to think about how Charlie ended up alone at the end of the night and how his friends treat him, how he treats his friends, and how they interact together overall. Very important. All right, last progress report for today. April 6th. I beat Algernon. I didn't even know I beat him until Bert the tester told me. Then the second time I lost because I got so excited I fell off the chair before I finished. But after that, I beat him 8 more times. I must be getting smarter to beat a smart mouse like Algernon. But I don't feel smarter. I wanted to race Algernon some more, but Bert said that's enough for one day. Then they let me hold him for a minute. He's not so bad. He's soft like a ball of cotton. He blinks, and when he opens his eyes, they're black and pink on the edges. I said, can I feed him, because I felt bad to beat him and wanted to be nice and make friends. Bert said no, Algernon is a very special mouse with an operation like mine, and he was the first of all the animals to stay smart so long. He told me Algernon is so smart that every day he has to solve a test to get his food. It's a thing like a lock on a door that changes every time Algernon goes in to eat, so he has to learn something new to get his food. That made me sad because if he couldn't learn, he would be hungry. I don't think it's right to make you pass a test to eat. How would Dr. Niemer like it to have to pass a test every time he wants to eat? I think I'll be friends with Algernon. All right, so before we end, I want you to start thinking about the connection between Algernon and Charlie. They've had the same operation. Granted, one is a mouse and one is a human. Um, and what is their connection? What is their relationship? And how are they treated by the staff at the laboratory? Similarities and differences. Important thoughts. And that is the end of day 2. Thank you for listening.